Push-ups aren't just a chest exercise. They're one of the best arm builders that you are not using right. Look at anyone who's done thousands of them. Their arms end up looking like a completely different exercise built them. And it comes down to one thing most people get wrong on every single rep. Once I show you what it is, you'll never look at push-ups the same way again. The real problem. Here's something most people never stop to think about. Your triceps aren't working equally hard through every part of a push-up. They're doing serious work right near the top as your arms straighten out. But through the middle of the rep, the part where most of your time is actually spent, they go quiet. Then right as you push back up, they kick back in hard. Now compare that to a dip or a tight, close grip press. That drop in the middle barely happens. The triceps stay loaded through almost the entire movement. Same basic pushing motion, but one version keeps the tension on the whole way through, and the other lets it disappear for half the rep. That gap is the real reason two people can knock out the same number of push-ups every day and end up with completely different arms. It was never about who does more reps, it's about who spends more time in the part of the rep that actually counts. So why does that dead zone happen? It comes down to your elbows. Flare them out wide, and your chest and shoulders take over the middle of the rep almost completely. Your triceps barely do anything until you're near the top, where they suddenly have to kick in just to finish the movement. That's why the number of push-ups you do can be misleading. Someone doing 50 wide elbow push-ups a day is probably building decent shoulder and chest endurance, but their triceps are only working hard for a small part of each rep. Do that every day for months, and it adds up to a lot of reps where your triceps barely got involved. Which is exactly why high numbers don't always mean bigger arms. You can do push-ups all day and still barely be training the muscle you think you are. The elbow mistake that's killing your gains. The fix is simple, even if nobody explains it clearly. Tuck your elbows in toward your body, just 30 to 45 degrees in from a full flare, and that dead zone closes almost completely. Your triceps no longer get to hide behind your shoulders doing the work. They're locked in for the whole rep. This is exactly why diamond push-ups and close grip presses feel so much harder than a standard push-up. Even though the motion looks nearly identical, it's not your imagination. You've removed the low-effort window your triceps were coasting through, so now they're grinding the entire time. And that's really the whole answer to the earlier question. Why two guys with similar push-up totals can end up looking nothing alike. One's been living in that dead zone the whole time without knowing it. The other has been closing it rep after rep. So the only real question left is, how do you make sure you're the second guy? The 3 rules that actually matter. If you want push-ups to genuinely function as a triceps builder, 3 things make or break it. First, your elbow angle. Tucked in, not flared out. This is the single biggest lever you can pull, because it decides whether your shoulder joint or your elbow joint is doing most of the work. Flared elbows put your shoulder in charge, and your shoulder is more than happy to take over and let your triceps coast. Tuck them in, and there's nowhere left for your triceps to hide. They become the primary joint driving the movement instead of a helper finishing the last few inches. Second, your hand placement. Slightly narrower than shoulder width shifts more of the load onto the triceps almost automatically, without you needing to fight for elbow position on every single rep. Think of it as stacking the odds in your favor before the set even starts. Go too narrow though, and you lose stability fast. Your wrists start absorbing angles they're not built for, and what should be an arm builder turns into a wrist strain exercise instead. Just inside shoulder width is the spot where you get the tricep benefit without paying for it in your joints. Third, your tempo, especially through the bottom half where activation usually checks out completely. A slow 2 to 3 second lowering phase forced your triceps to control the weight instead of just catching it. Most people speed up exactly where they should be, slowing down, because the bottom of a push-up is the hardest point mechanically. Get those 3 right, and the exercise changes completely, even though it looks almost identical from the outside. But that's only the theory. Here's exactly how I'd turn it into a real training plan. Start with tucked elbow, narrow grip push-ups for sets of 12 to 15. Once 15 clean reps feels genuinely easy, push toward 20 to 25 before adding difficulty. This is where most people mess up. They jump to diamond push-ups too early, form collapses, and the elbows flare right back out under fatigue, which puts you right back in the dead zone we just fixed. Rest matters more than people think here too. 2 to 4 minutes between sets keeps your triceps fresh enough to control the tempo. Once 20 to 25 is solid, move to diamond push-ups using that same tempo, and let that become your main triceps-focused variation from here on. When even those start feeling manageable for high reps, that's your signal to add load. A weighted vest preferably, or a plate on your back. Added resistance is what keeps the triceps growing once body weight alone stops being enough of a challenge. Run this 2 to 3 times a week alongside your usual training. The first sign it's working shows up as soreness somewhere unfamiliar, right around the outer triceps near the elbow. After a few weeks, that turns into visible size in the same spot. If progress stalls, it's almost always tempo slipping back to fast reps under fatigue, not a lack of volume. Check your form before you add more sets. The takeaway: push-ups were never a weak triceps exercise. Most people just never close the dead zone that quietly wastes half of every rep. Fix your elbow position, slow down exactly where it usually goes quiet, and chase clean reps instead of big numbers. And push-ups stop being a diluted chest movement. They become exactly what your triceps have been missing the entire time. And if you want to get stronger at any pushing movement and pick up any pushing skill faster, that's exactly where dips come in. Dips take everything we just talked about and push it even further, which is why they pair so well with push-ups once you're ready to progress. If you want a structured way to build that strength instead of guessing your way through it, that's exactly what my weighted pull-up and dip program is built for. It's 27% off right now. Links in the description if you want to check it out.